This is David Coulthard. New Year is always a very Scottish time of the year, and I shall be enjoying it myself up in Twynham with my friends and family. So I just wanted to take this opportunity to wish everyone who listens to Gareth Jones on Speed a Happy New Year.
Hello, this is me, Jackie Stewart. I just want to wish everyone who listens to Gareth Jones on Speed a very Happy New Year.
Hello, it's me, Rubens Barrichello. Happy Hogmanay! That's marvellous! Who is Gareth Jones anyway? In this edition of Gareth Jones on Speed, find out what one-time Ferrari driver Mika Salo has been blasting around in of late, on location with the man himself.
Cornering is interesting because I didn't know how deep I can turn in the corner and they will roll over, but it didn't.
Plus, as it's the first show of the year, a bit of speculation on the future joys of watching F1 and the future woes of driving high-tech road cars.
What's going to happen, though, if somebody decides to hack into your Toyota Prius? What are they actually going to be able to do? I'm going to really mess him up now. I'm going to make it run on electric power for slightly longer at above a threshold of 8 miles an hour. Yeah. I'm going to make his driver's seat really hot.
Feel the heat yourself by taking part in our great New Year's car quiz, lovingly prepared by Violet Berlin. Also here, and driving the out of the rental car of life, is Sniff Petrol.
Things you never hear in motoring, number 3472.
Wow! A Ford Focus!
This is Gareth Jones on Speed, coming at you with the force of a Trabant. Hello and welcome to Gareth Jones on Speed. I'm the bloke they call Gareth Jones.
And I'm Zog.
Welcome to what is the seasonal special episode of Gareth Jones on Speed, actually, this, where we're kind of looking back a little bit and looking forward towards this wonderful year of 2006. And it's already started with some tremendous news, hasn't it, Zog?
Audi unveiled their new car for next year in motorsport, the R10, which is diesel-powered, and they're going to attempt to be the first manufacturer to take overall victory at Le Mans in a diesel-powered car. Are you looking forward to that as a prospect, seeing a diesel car racing?
Well, we have already seen a diesel car running at
the
Le Mans.
Caterpillar, yeah.
Yeah, the Caterpillar, the NASA Max car, wasn't it, I think? It never ran in the race, but we did see it it was either in practice or it was in the warm-up. But I remember when we were at Le Mans, we were looking for this car and we saw it for a while and then it vanished. So,
yeah, it didn't last very long.
And we've talked about this on this very programme before, that we believe that we're not really just petrol heads, we're going quickly heads. Really.
Yeah, and we're technology heads. We like smart solutions.
What a smart solution it is, putting a diesel in the car, because the Automobile Club l'Ouest, who organised Le Mans 24, are actively campaigning for alternative fuel sources and alternative technologies at Le Mans, aren't they? It's part of their brief.
As Le Mans heads will know, one of the prizes that they award every year is the Index of Efficiency, and it's not particularly well publicised prize, but it goes to it's a measure of how efficient a car is, and this has been a part of Le Mans history for years. I think since the very start they've had this. The index of efficiency, and what a fabulous thing to be celebrating the efficiency of the vehicle. And in fact, it's something that really every successful racing car has to be as efficient as possible. It may burn a lot of fuel, but it burns it as efficiently as it can.
Yeah.
My last thought on the Audi itself is, I think that car is going to have a decent chance of taking overall victory, if not this year, next year. Audi would not be doing this if they thought they couldn't do it, if they couldn't make a success of it, and they made an extraordinary success of the R8. You'd have to say they've got a good chance of doing it again with the R10. And it was interesting that the reason that Porsche, when they came back into motorsport with their new RS Spider, which they're going to be running in the LMP2 category in the American Le Mans
They
series.
considered diesel, didn't they?
They did consider diesel, and the reason they decided not to do a diesel was because Audi already was going to do a diesel, and they didn't want to go up against Audi in that, and so they decided to go for the smaller category, the LMP2 category, rather than go head-to-head with a diesel Audi in LMP1.
Probably a good idea with the benefit of hindsight, now that Porsche have gone out and bought shares in Audi's mother company, VAG. You know, it wouldn't have been too good for them to have been competing in exactly the same category, really, at all. Well, so that was fortuitous,
yeah,
wasn't it?
well, maybe that was part of the thinking as well. I don't know. Who knows?
Ooh. But yeah, very exciting. We'll be at Le Mans this year. I'm really looking forward to it.
Certainly hope so.
Hola, this is Fernando Alonso. Next year, I'm going to be driving silver and white car. I go to McLaren. Na 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 na. Happy New Year.
The big news this week: McLaren have signed Fernando Alonso for the 2007 season. Not 2006, but 2007.
Yeah, not this season, next year. And Renault made noise about being a bit unhappy about that. And
you'd expect them to be.
You'd expect them to be unhappy, but you'd also think that they'd have had a chance to make a deal there, or they'd have had a chance to stop it happening, because who is Fernando Alonso's manager?
But it's Flavio Briatore, of course.
Yeah.
I make for you a decision about
About the driver. And so can you imagine? Even if Briatore wasn't directly handling the negotiations with McLaren, surely, Alonso would at least have let him know that he was thinking about leaving, or that he was thinking about some kind of change. So you can't imagine that Renault were completely in the dark about that, or who knows?
It's a curious one. There's also the other issue of whose seat is he going to fill at McLaren? Will he replace Juan Pablo Montoya, or will he replace Kimi? Do you know my theory?
Go on.
I think he'll replace Kimi, and that Kimi is going to Ferrari.
Well, there have been a lot of rumours about Raikkonen moving to Ferrari throughout the year, really, and I don't think he's denied them, has he?
No, I don't think there's ever been a denial. No one's ever confirmed anything, but it's just one of those things you have to wait and see. But it's got all very interesting. All the permutations are interesting. Let's think about it. Is it going to be Kimi and Michael if Kimi does go to Ferrari?
Or Kimi and Liuzzi?
Or Kimi and what's your motorcycle rider called? What's his name?
Valentino Rossi.
Yeah. Kimi and Rossi. Could it be Michael and Rossi?
All kinds of possibilities.
Could it be Massa and Rossi? Could it be Massa and Michael? All those permutations at Ferrari are interesting. Or will it be Montoya? Could it be Montoya that's leaving? You'd think he's a kind of a square peg to fit in the round hole at McLaren.
But McLaren have been getting some good performances out of him, and he's had some rotten luck. He hasn't helped it by making a few mistakes of his own, and he's let things slip a little bit. He needs to do better this year, but if the luck evens out, I'd like to see him take on Kimi without the disadvantage of mechanics going against him, if you like. Mechanical, sorry, not mechanics.
Well, with the potential for some great drivers going to some great teams, the next 12 or 18 months are looking spectacularly interesting.
This is Sniff Petrol. The headlines. Jensen Button signs up to do yet more excruciating, crazy frog rivaling video messages for your mobile phone.
Hello, this is Jensen Button. You really wouldn't think I needed the money? Definitely.
In the capital, Ken Livingstone decides to make the London Assembly Building more like his growing fleet of bendy buses.
Knock down this 9-storey efficient use of space and make it a massive bungalow that gets in everyone's way and then catches fire. Oh, and take out half the seats. Ow.
And as Land Rover and Jaguar attract criticism for withdrawing advertising from the gay press in America, Porsche moves quickly to fill their slot.
Yeah, we are launching this new model. It's called the Gay Man. It's so cute.
At a car boot sale near Writhing in Agony, General Motors is having a clear-out.
See anything you like?
Don't think so.
How about this? MC Hammer's Please Hammer, Don't Hurt 'Em on cassette. Oh, only £3.
I'll give it a miss.
Well, how about this then? A copy of William Shatner's Tech War with all the adjectives crossed out by Leonard Nimoy. £15. It's yours.
I'm going to say no. Hang on, what's this?
This is a medium-sized Swedish car manufacturer. 18 two-car model range, in-house research and development facilities, annual production around 120,000 units, illustrious rallying heritage, tenuous connection with aeronautics.
Now, how much do you want for it?
£1.50.
£1.50? That's pretty cheap, isn't it?
Yeah, well, we spent the last few years completely devaluing it.
Things you never hear in motoring. Number 216. Yeah, when I'm driving my van on the motorway, I tend to stick to a steady 65.
Gareth Jones on speed. Gareth Jones on speed.
As you know, when I'm not doing Gareth Jones on speed, I've got a proper job where I'm a pit lane reporter for a motor racing series, which took me out to Dubai recently. I was at a race there and met 3 drivers I was very, very, very pleased to meet. Met Jean Alesi, Zog.
I would love to meet Jean Alesi. He's a big hero of mine.
Good-looking lad, I have to say, in the flesh. I wanted to kiss him. I know he's Italian and French, so he might have accepted it.
And married.
You see, I could have upset him.
Yeah.
But I wanted to kiss him in a motorsport fan sort of way. I told him that my first car in my collection of 1/43rd scale diecast models was actually of Jean Alesi driving a Ferrari 412 T2.
Fantastic.
Thank you very much. So I wanted to tell him that. Being a punter. I met Nicky Lauda, who I've not met before, and I was very pleased to interview Nicky Lauda. Hello, Gareth. I want to talk to you whilst my son waves behind me in the car, pulling funny faces, which is what happened. Matthias Lauda was sitting behind Nicky in the car behind him.
Slightly disrespecting the older Lauda.
Yeah.
Well, you're allowed to do that if it's your father.
It was just great. It was a wonderful motorsport moment, that. And the third one was a driver who not only I always thought was very cool, because he's Finnish, right, but Violet fancied like mad.
Well, those Finns are good-looking chaps, aren't they, as a rule?
Mika Salo. I met him, not at a racetrack, but down by the harbour, literally in the sea then, where he was driving a powerboat. Mika Salo, the last time we met was in '98 in Suzuka, when you were driving for Arrows. What are you doing in Dubai today?
I'm just on holiday with the family, and there happen to be so many activities here, so it doesn't look like holiday anymore. So, but we're just here on holiday.
So you were having a bit of fun out on the water there. Explain what you were doing and why.
Well, we saw last weekend that there was this Class 1 powerboat race, and the guy, I know some of the guys. There's some Finnish guys here and some guys from the car racing working on the boats, and they asked me if I want to have a go, and now it just happened. So it was quite a nice experience.
How was it? Tell me about the handling. How does it compare to a car?
Well, it's fast. We did 250 kilometers per hour on water now, and it's as fast as I've done. At the speed, you can't feel so much because there's nothing really to hit on the water. It's just wide open space. But cornering is interesting because I didn't know how deep I can turn in the corner, and the co-driver was saying you can just turn it and it doesn't roll over. And I was worried all the time it will roll over, but it didn't.
So how much control of the vessel did they give you?
I just have a steering wheel, that's it. The driver has a steering wheel and navigation, and then the other guy has the throttles and trim control.
So that must have felt really strange going into a corner, having no control over the speed.
It is, yeah. It's quite a different experience, and I would like to control the throttle as well. But okay, this is this sport, and it's like that. But it's still, you must have a very good coordination with the driver and throttle man to get the top speed out of it.
So do these things turn, or do they understeer massively? What's it like?
Oh, it just turns. As soon as you touch the steering wheel, it just turns. It has a very good grip, and I think you can turn it any speed, but it will, like I said, it will just roll over then in the end. It's
good PR having you drive a powerboat like this. I mean, any possibility of you doing something like this in the future for kicks or for, as a profession?
Not really a profession, but I can have a go again, definitely. It ended up a bit short now because we ran out of fuel, so I'd love to have a go another time, and because now I have the idea how it works, and we'll see what happens. I might even do a race someday.
I look forward to seeing that. Now, I was also very pleased to see you up and about because I did read recently that some carbon fibre dust was found in your lungs and people were concerned about that, and I'm concerned. Tell me, what's the story?
No, it was nothing. It was I went for operation, which idea was to fix one old damage what I had in a accident in Formula 3000 race in Japan, and it's been bothering me for 15 years, and now I had the time this summer to do it. And during the operation they found some carbon dust in my lungs, and they took a test piece out of it and sent it to FIA and for checking, and it turned out to be harmless. There's carbon dust in my lungs and all the other drivers as well, but it's harmless and it doesn't bother me.
That's in a way that's kind of useful. That's a sort of heads up for motorsport, something that we're completely unaware of. Are they going to try and change policy at all as a result of this discovery? Do you know?
Yeah, I know that the FIA doctors are working on it and trying to. Of course, it's never healthy to have something extra inside you, but it comes from the brakes or fuel or something. It's difficult to control. Of course, they can control the materials what is used in the brakes and or protect the breathing somehow. It's not only drivers, it's everybody who was in the paddock, and especially the old mechanics when there was the tire changes. Those guys probably have a lot of it inside of them, but it's, like I said, it's harmless, so it's nothing to worry about.
I always believe that motor racing is really healthy internationally. Like any sport, it brings cultures to people. I've learnt the Finnish national anthem, and I'm a Welshman as a result of motorsport. What's motorsport done for you, Mika? Apart from giving you a lung full of carbon fibre.
Yeah, no, it's been my life for all my life basically. So I've been racing since I was 5, and I'm nearly 40 now. So 35 years it's been my life, and it's been really good fun. I have a lot of friends from racing. Everything what I've done is been with the racing, so I haven't done anything else. I haven't done an honest job in my life. I've been just racing always. So I have no regrets, and it's been really good fun.
But perhaps a bit of powerboat racing in the future, maybe.
Yeah, but it's still motor racing.
Mika, it's great to talk to you again. Thank you very much. I know you're on holiday, and I appreciate you finding the time to talk to me. Thank you.
That's no problem. Thank you.
In a report from overseas, Sniff Petrol meets top British designer Mike Papp as he shows us around his new offices at Subaru's design centre in Japan.
This is one of our CAD-CAM units. It runs industry-standard software. Basically, it allows us to model entire cars in a completely virtual environment. And then we can transfer it to our studio here. And here we have one of our full-scale milling machines. Obviously, this allows us much faster creation of styling models, and that's enormously useful with the shorter lead times of modern car development. And here we have possibly the most important car design tool that we use here at Subaru.
What is this?
It's called the Ugly Stick.
Meanwhile, in France... we are delighted with Fernando Alonso winning the F1 World Championship for us here at Renault. Obviously, we are hoping also for equally good things in the 2006 season and for many, many seasons to come. One moment, please. Hello? Fernando, I was just talking about you. What? You're leaving? 2007? McLaren? What? No, I don't want to talk to you no more. This is as outrageous as my accent. It cannot do this to me. Wait, I will check his contract. Here it is. Let me read it. It says mild 7 at the top. What is this small print? Tar 5 milligrams, nicotine 0.4 milligrams, carbon monoxide 6 milligrams. Why is this all written on this small, worthless rectangular box? This contract might as well have been written on a fag packet. Oh no, it is. Merde. Things you never hear in motoring. Number 98.
Me in the cab, madam.
Yeah, do you know Loughton Road in Finsbury?
Why, yes, I know exactly where that is. I will take you there by the cheapest route.
This is Gareth Jones on Speed, the seasonal special, and I'm pleased to say joining Zog and me in my living room at the moment is my fantastic girlfriend and Richard Porter from Sniff Petrol. Round of applause, guys. Welcome in.
You're too kind, thank you.
Now, Richard, you've joined because Violet's got some evil, wicked plan. Did you know that?
Is this the one about doing the post office over? Because
That one, no.
the other one, the other.
Yeah,
Sorry.
We mustn't broadcast that stuff. I keep telling you. What's your plan, Violet?
Well, I thought as it was a new year and everything, it would be a good opportunity to lay some car myths to rest. You know, there are lots of myths and misconceptions about cars and things that people think are false, which are actually true.
Oh, right.
And fingers on buzzers. I want you to tell me if each statement is true or false, but then you need to go and qualify it.
Okay, right.
Number 1. Putting sugar in the gas tank will ruin a vehicle's engine. True or false?
Jones, Wales.
True, because the temperatures involved, my guess is that the fuel, if it does actually make it through the injectors, if it's an injector, if it will make it through, it will line the inside of the cylinder with treacle, effectively, or toffee. That's my guess. But I do know someone who did do that once.
Well,
I think it might gum up the carburetors, actually, or your injectors. That's what I'm thinking.
I was going to say false. Firstly, because I think it would make the engine run more sweetly.
Oh!
And secondly, I suspect that if you don't run the tank dry, maybe it will sink to the bottom because it won't dissolve.
That's absolutely correct.
Oh,
and that is the key point, that sugar does not dissolve in gasoline. And the classic myth is that the sucrosed engine seizes and halts the vehicle in its tracks because it actually effectively is some kind of liquid cement because it's dissolved in the petrol. But actually it's just a bit like having lots of sand in your engine. And it can do harm to your engine, but not the kind of deadly in the quantities you'd need. Yeah, and it won't completely ruin your engine.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Very good.
That's a good myth busted.
Yeah.
Like that.
Okay, next one. So, is this fact or fiction? Mrs. James Brown once tried to beat traffic charges by claiming she was entitled to diplomatic immunity for being married to the ambassador of Seoul.
Sniff Petrol.
I think that's true, but I'm going to say false because he's the godfather of Seoul.
That's right, yeah.
Which is a different thing altogether. He just went to Seoul's christening and stood at the front and said,
Will you bring up Seoul?
Not the ambassador of Seoul.
Well, actually, he was called by the US president at the time, I think, the ambassador of Seoul. And in fact, because of that, she did claim diplomatic immunity.
Did she beat the rap?
Did
That's
she
what we
get
want to
away
know.
with it? What do you think?
No.
That's absolutely correct. And why?
Because she was obviously guilty.
Well, actually, it was that, but also because he was in the US at the time, so you don't get diplomatic immunity when you're in the same country that you're,
Very
making
good.
the crime. So there you go.
Beautiful.
So, next one. The Chevy Nova sold poorly in Mexico.
Zog, London.
I believe that is true because the Nova in Spanish means doesn't go.
Nova.
Nova doesn't go.
It's the same reason why the Vauxhall Nova from the 1980s was called the Vauxhall Nova here, but the Opel Corsa in Europe, because of Spain being in mainland Europe, apparently.
Well, I'm afraid, gentlemen, that you're wrong. Yes.
Actually, I think the main reason it sold poorly was because it was rubbish.
Well, actually, the first thing I have to say is that it didn't sell poorly in Spanish territories. It says on the Chevy Nova site, admittedly.
So a very reliable source of information in relation to
For
sales.
all your impartial thoughts about the Chevy Nova.
On the upside, though, I think this has a lot for the spirit of toleration and positive well-being and goodwill to all men that the Spanish-speaking people are giving to the world by not being prejudiced against a car called the Nova.
It's probably time. There's that well-known story about the Mitsubishi Shogun, which is called the Shogun in the UK and in Spain. The rest of the world it's called the Mitsubishi Pajero. But unfortunately, in Spanish, it means a gentleman's act of self-delight.
Clapping himself on the back, that would be.
Writing "well done" on a post-it note and sticking it to something.
The phrase Nova, which literally does mean doesn't go, it isn't quite the right kind of translation. It would be the equivalent of if we were trying to sell a dining room set in this country to call it the the notable. No table.
Right.
Okay. Someone in a translation might say, it means no table. Who's going to buy a dining room set with no table? But we wouldn't say doesn't go anyway. We'd say doesn't run. But the equivalent in Spanish would be a different word. Doesn't go doesn't necessarily mean doesn't go to them.
So they did probably lose out on a handful of sales to really, really weird people who would be the equivalent of really, really weird people in England who would see the notable furniture range and go, well, there's obviously no table. I'm not going to consider it.
But furthermore, to cement my point, say, for example, in Mexico, the most famous Mexican gasoline is also called Nova, and that sells really well. So, obviously...
And you could stick it in your Chevy Nova.
So, for all those reasons, you're wrong! Using a mobile phone at a petrol station will cause a fire.
Zog, London.
It's false. It also won't cause a problem in hospitals if you use your mobile phone in the waiting room, even though there are all those signs that says it does. Yeah, it's false.
That's interesting. Why the hospital thing then?
It seems to me it's not a bad idea that everybody should turn their phones off just because it sort of makes hospitals. Yeah, it's annoying and it generally makes everything a slightly more
maybe
relaxing
the staff
thing.
Yeah. I can't talk. I'm just doing an enema.
No, I don't know what the reason is. I don't know why they're telling us to turn them off when they shouldn't.
The phones on petrol station forecourts, though, is sort of based on a very, very theoretical risk, isn't it? That doesn't really
RF is some sort of
possibly,
energy.
Or maybe when they first came in, they on a precautionary principle thought, don't take off that new pullover.
I got told off for tap dancing on a petrol station forecourt once. I thought that's very dangerous. They should put more signs. But Bruce Forsyth gets someone else to fill up his car.
Let's have a look at the old forecourt.
What do points make? 3 wine glasses.
As the drink Red Bull has been banned in countries around the world, the newly named Red Bull team will not be allowed to be named in those countries either, which is why it's being called Squadro Toro Rosso.
Jones, Wales.
False. It is true, Red Bull has been banned in a number of countries around the world for various reasons, not just the caffeine levels in it, but I think the other stuff.
Taurine.
Yes, thank you. The reason why they called the team Squadra or Scuderia Toro Rosso was to reflect the Italian heritage of the team that they've bought, and not to use the term Red Bull Juniors, which would have been a bit demeaning for any drivers in that team. So they're not banned.
Because although in many countries it's illegal to advertise cigarettes, I don't think it's illegal to advertise Red Bull as such. It's just illegal to sell it in those countries.
Correct. And do you know which countries it's...
France.
France is one of the main ones. Malaysia is another. So yes, you're right. Except that it is mainly the caffeine is the reason why it's banned. All the other substances haven't got enough scientific evidence.
I like the way that the French have banned a drink that's got a lot of caffeine in it. They serve coffee that makes your eyes bleed.
Do you know how much caffeine it's got in it?
14 times a glass of an espresso.
What is it? I don't know.
The same as a cup of coffee.
Is it?
Yeah. Using cruise control on wet roads or during heavy rain can cause you to lose control of your vehicle.
Sniff Petrol.
I'm going to say that with a due sense of trepidation, there may be something in that, because when you aquaplane, you should lift off the power, and obviously a cruise control will just keep the power on constantly. So there may be a small risk there, but I don't know.
That makes sense. That sounds
obviously,
good.
I mean, it depends on the road as well. A wet road that also happens to be the Grossglockner Pass in the Alps or something, then you really shouldn't be using cruise control anyway.
Hey, it's more fun to drive anyway. More fun to do it yourself.
That's pretty much what it says here.
Hey, Richard.
And finally, ending on a modern one, new cars, like, say, the Prius, which are sort of ultra-computerised and use Bluetooth, are at risk from infection from mobile phone viruses.
Jones, Wales.
Yes, I hosted a seminar at the Science Museum just a couple of months ago about computer security, and the biggest area for growth in viruses at the moment is via your mobile phone. But they weren't really talking about Bluetooth. They were talking about receiving it via any method, whether it was text message or media message.
I think I've had one of those. I had a very weird text message.
And I also noticed that a British company in the last week advertised the fact, or released the idea, that they're looking into installing a Bluetooth-based piece of software in cars which would only open the doors to the registered owner. So it recognised me as I walked up. They were a British company. Oh, it's Gareth, I'll open the doors, but only open to me. Therefore, if someone had a chip, my card in their phone, they could hack in if they could duplicate my phone.
Well,
so I say yes.
What's going to happen, though, if somebody decides to hack into your Toyota Prius? What are they actually going to be able to do? I'm going to really mess him up now. I'm going to make it run on electric power for slightly longer at above a threshold of 8 miles an hour. And I'm going to retune the radio so it's all Magic FM. I mean, really, how much scope have you got? It's just going to be for pranks. It's going to annoy people. Yeah. I'm going to make his driver's seat really hot. It's bizarre.
Yeah, it's going to make your life hell in really petty ways.
No. They've converted my speedometer so it reads in light years. Well, that's inconvenient. I don't understand that.
Oh, the LCD readout on the dash, which used to say which part of the hybrid system is working, now just says the word bomb.
Do you know what? Because that's the thing, when people do that, I was ashamed to say I've done it, where you get a mate's mobile phone and you convert it so the default language is Polish. That's what people will do. So you'll just get in and you'll be like, right, okay, I'm going to see how many miles I'm doing on the trip computer. I seem to be doing 17 hectares to a litre of kerosene. Why have you converted it to the Czech standard of measurement?
So what's
That's a very complete answer. Was it right?
No, I think everything you all said was completely correct. There was no true or false.
You can say everything you all said was complete rubbish.
Violet Berlin, thank you very much indeed, everyone, for our 6 month quiz. Yeah, who won?
The listeners were the winners.
We live to give.
Let's propose a toast to the listeners. A toast to the listeners. Raise your glasses. Raise your glasses to the regular listeners and subscribers of Gareth Jones on Speed.
Hooray!
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Now, for the first time on DVD, Nigel Mansell live at the Apollo.
Hello London, I'm really pleased to be here. I almost didn't make it down tonight. The traffic on the M4 is really terrible due to the contraflow system.
Finally, you can own an exclusive recording of Britain's favourite F1 champion during his sellout stand-up comedy tour of 1998.
I'm not saying my wife's fat, because obviously she isn't, she's worked very hard throughout the season. I'm delighted with her performance in all areas. Obviously she's done a fantastic job.
It's the mustachioed West Midlands racing driver as you've never seen him before.
3 blokes go into a pub. First bloke was a pint of bitter in the bar and says, that'll be £2.10. Now, obviously they all did a very fantastic job. I really couldn't complain about the performance throughout the weekend. Delighted with the way things turned out.
Nigel Mansell live at the Apollo. Out now.
So this nun goes into a sex shop. She was asking for directions to St Mary's Church. Bloke behind the counter says, it's just round the corner. Obviously he did a great job, no complaints, and everything really went well for the team. I'm absolutely delighted.
Nigel Mansell live at the Apollo. Out now on DVD.
Things you never hear in motoring. Number 7B. So, how much will you give us for this 3-year-old Fiat Stilo?
Oh, well, easily what you paid for it, brand new.
As aftermarket sat-nav maker Bongo announces plans to introduce new, more realistic navigation voice instructions, Sniff Petrol brings you an exclusive preview of what to expect.
Slow down. You are driving too fast. I warned you this was a dead end, but you always know better. Haven't we been here before? Why don't we just stop and ask for directions? You were looking at that woman in that BMW. Yes, you were.
Just time for some late news. Fernando Alonso leaving Renault means Flavio Briatore completes the set by shafting himself. A group of dyslexic British car industry entrepreneurs announces plans to bring back Dennis Healey. And after that bizarre video message collection, Honda Racing's lead driver continues his run of odd decisions as Squelch Video announces Dance Yourself Down a Dress Size with Jensen Button.
That's it. You've been listening to the seasonal special, Gareth Jones on Speed. I was Gareth Jones. Next week, rather I should say on this occasion, next year, I'm going to be the new Doctor Who. Richard Porter, who are you going to be?
Next year I'm going to be 18 stone heavier. I am going to make a resolution to join a gym and then accidentally join a cake shop.
Quite possible. Violet Berlin, who are you going to be next year?
I'm going to be the miraculous congregation of the meme.
The miraculous congregation of the meme. Well, we haven't seen them for a while. It'd be nice to have them back. And Zog, who are you going to be?
I'm going to be Hedy Lamarr.
Okay.
Hollywood actress, beauty, and inventor of frequency multiplexing.
Oh, that's right, yes. Well, as we know...
Which then went on to be used for...
in mobile phones.
Yeah.
Which shouldn't be used on petrol station forecourts.
Smart girl.
And the idea came from a player piano. So, talking of which, here is... That's absolutely true.
What a link!
Talking of which, we usually finish on a piece of music. This time, we're going to finish on the Chinese national anthem. And I'm sorry, but I don't know what it's called. But the reason that we're going to play this is that China scored their first ever points in A1 Grand Prix at the Dubai.
Well done, China.
Teng Yijiang came in fifth and scored 6 points, and it was kind of an important moment for the series. But I genuinely believe this; it's an important moment. The Chinese are here, and now that they've started scoring points, they're just going to continue. That's my theory. Across all formulae, we will see them. So that's my tip for the future in 2006 and 2007. Happy New Year, everyone! Thanks to Violet Berlin,
Happy New Year,
Richard Porter.
Happy New Year.
And we'll leave you with the Chinese national anthem. Happy New Year.
Meanwhile, Jensen Button is at a séance.
Is anybody there? The glass is moving. It's moving towards... Yes! It's moving back towards... No. It's moving back to... Yes! Now it's moving towards... Definitely. That's not even an option. Have you been writing on my Ouija board?
Sorry, definitely.
Have you got a question for the board?
Yes, definitely. Should I have done that series of completely advised video messages?
Definitely not.
Gareth Jones on Speed was a slightly late production.